Yes, thank you. The reason I volunteered to go first was to get it over with. But I really appreciate Will and Shantae, and they are such a blessing to the community, so thank you for the opportunity. And thank you guys all for coming tonight to hear our stories. So my story is my husband and I, we have been married for 11 years. And when we got married, we had almost $100,000 in debt. We had all types of debt. We had credit cards, we had student loans, we had a car note, we had personal loans. The only thing we didn't have was a mortgage because we didn't have a house. But we didn't really own anything except we each had cars, and we had a lot of debt, yes. We were basically drowning in debt. That was our story. And even though we were drowning in debt, we weren't scared. You know, usually if you're drowning, you would feel, you know, a little urgency, and you would think, okay, I'm drowning, I need some help. But we weren't thinking that way because we were very comfortable, not comfortable, it was the norm. So everyone really in our circle was in debt. So actually being in debt wasn't rare, it was the norm. All the people that we went to school with had a lot of student loans. And it wasn't even just a certain demographic. It was people that we knew who were working minimum wage jobs, people who were working at the university, people with advanced degrees. Everyone was living paycheck to paycheck, drowning in debt, wondering how they're going to stretch their next paycheck because there's more a month before the next check comes in. So we didn't really think, you know, how do we change this? Even though one of our goals when we got married, we did, you know, like a vision board as a married couple, and one of the things was we wanted to create generational wealth. And so that's great, but we weren't really doing anything to achieve that. And then, actually, no, that's not true. I got my MBA from a local graduate college, and I did take all the personal finance electives that I could take. And I learned a lot of theory about money. But I didn't really take anything away that was practical, and that taught me how to apply anything to my personal economy. What can I actually do to create generational wealth? So the desire was there, but I just didn't have a plan. There was no blueprint. So one day I met a woman. We live in Schenectady, and I met a woman who also lives in Schenectady. And she was really the catalyst for, you know, the path that we're on now. I'm going to call her, I'm not going to say her real name, but I'm going to refer to her as Charmaine. So I met Charmaine, just me and her, and we connected. She's a black woman, she lives in Schenectady, she's married, and she is financially independent. And so I never heard that term before. I knew what wealth is and riches, and I knew some money terms, but financial independence was not something that I grew up ever hearing. So she explained to me that, and actually my day job is I work at the college and I do volunteer services. And so it was a volunteer fair that I coordinated for the students, and she was a full-time volunteer, and she was telling me all these different places where she volunteered. And I was like, wow, how does she volunteer, you know, at all these different places? You know, how do you have the time? So she told me that, you know, she doesn't work outside of the home, and she's able to pursue all her different passions and do a lot of things. She's a very generous person. She's the most generous person I know. She does a lot of behind-the-scenes giving. Really, she was goals. You know, if you're on social media, you see hashtag goals, and you're like, oh wow, this woman, she's like married goals or relationship goals, lifestyle goals. And I was just really blown away by her generosity. And I was like, wow, I would love to be in a position to be that type of giver. But how can I do that when, you know, we're drowning in debt, we're living paycheck to paycheck, we have no savings, even though we wanted to give, you know, if we were giving, we were always giving out of debt, you know, putting a lot of stuff on credit card and really just giving when we didn't have the money. So anyway, she invited me to her house, and she said, you know, invite your husband, come over, and we just want to talk to you. My husband and me will talk to you and your husband. And I was really excited about that. I was like, wow, this woman really seems to know what she's doing. She just seems really special. So I go home and I tell my husband I met this lady, and Elroy was like, this kind of sounds like she's trying to sell us something, because it kind of sounds like too good to be true. This lady wants us to come over and tell us about an opportunity that she has, and we really can't afford, you know, to buy into something right now. Because like I said, we're in a whole bunch of debt, so we don't have extra money to do that. So anyways, we go over, and in the car, or in the driveway, and Elroy says to me, now before we go in, don't say yes to anything in case they're trying to sell us something. So we go in, and they weren't trying to sell us anything, and they just really wanted to pour into us. Even though Elroy and I were really stupid with money, we were smart enough to realize a really great mentorship opportunity in this couple. So they basically gave us a crash course in personal finance. We went into their house not knowing anything, and we left, 4.5 hours later, knowing we need to know how to do a budget, we need to be committed to doing that, we need to learn how to live below our means, we need to learn how to get out of debt, and we need to learn how to save money and invest money, and it's really critical. We left there knowing that we needed to have a sense of urgency about our personal finances. So we really appreciate this couple. We're still in touch with them today, and they were completely debt-free. We were in their house, they don't even have a mortgage. And so here, Elroy and I, like I said, almost $100,000 because we have all these student loans. And we left there with hope, thinking like, wow, we can actually do some things differently and be in a much better position. And because this couple, what was so amazing is they looked like us. It was a Black couple living in Schenectady. And a lot of times, if you Google Schenectady, you see poverty and you see, all of these negative things, the statistics. And even though, if we live here, we know that that's not true. We know that there's it's very diverse. So that wasn't a part of the diversity spectrum that I even knew existed. I didn't think people owned their homes. I thought everyone had a mortgage, and that was just norm. That was the norm. That's what I thought was the norm. So anyways, they taught us so much, and they even just told us, they said, we're just looking for someone to pass the knowledge on to. They don't have children, and they were saying, we just really want this to live. And people to just know that there is a way to manage your finances in a way that we don't really see a lot. So Elroy and I took that. They gave us so much, and then Elroy, he's a researcher by nature. He has his PhD, and so he was like, I'm going to read everything about money. And so one of the things that Elroy was trying to do was, what are self-made first-generation millionaires? What are they doing that's different from people that are not winning with money? And we were like, wow, everything that is written in these books, all the research points to what this couple is doing and living. And we're like, well, why don't we just do what they're doing and see where it gets us? And so we have this great blueprint in this couple, and we're like, we're just going to do what they're doing. And we started doing that. And today, Elroy and I, we don't have any debt. We have, thank you. So the things that they were teaching us, it's real and it's practical and it's proven. It's evidence-based. It's like not, it's not like, oh, try this. It may work, it may not work. It works if you do the work. And so we started doing that, and people started noticing that we were living differently. And we were really excited ourselves, and we're like, wow, this really works, and we would be talking to other people about it. So people started asking us, can you come and talk about money to this group, to my group? So we started at our church, and we started, just doing workshops at our church, and then my godparents have a church, and we're like, okay, we'll go to their church, and then another friend. We were basically like on a church tour for like a few years, going church to church, doing personal finance workshops. And it grew a lot, and we both have full-time jobs, and we were putting a lot of extra energy and effort into creating a curriculum. And then Elroy said, we should create a business because we want a business. And I was like, okay. First I was a little scared because I'm thinking I do a lot of volunteer work, and at first I was thinking like, oh, but should we really sell it? And Elroy was like, it's okay for us to have a business. And I'm so glad that he really pushed for that, because having a business has really opened a lot of doors for us. And we've been able to travel all throughout New York State talking about money and personal finances, and it's been such a great opportunity to see people from all walks of life, and especially when we're talking to audiences where poverty is the norm. And we're not saying that personal finance erases poverty, because it doesn't. But having the tools and knowing what to do and having a clear path gives people power when they didn't have it before. Even just the simple thing of doing a budget And a budget is really simple. It's you telling your money where to go instead of wondering where your money went. And you can do a budget on any income level. You can be a minimum wage worker. You can just be bringing in $50 a month, but you can at least tell that $50 where to go. And that's really, it gives you power over your money instead of having your money, or the lack of money, having power over you. And so we're able to give this message to any group. We can talk to people who are on the poverty level, and people who are, making six figures. And it's interesting because when you study this, it's like people are living paycheck to paycheck in every demographic. It doesn't matter what your educational level is, what your income level is. When you start looking at a person's net worth, you would be surprised, because a lot of times you think people look wealthy, they look rich, and behind the scenes, they're a financial hot mess. And then other people look very average. Like I said, our mentors, if they were sitting in the audience, you would not know that, because they just look like everyone else. And like I said, they're financially independent. And what does that mean, financial independence? It means that you have enough investments, you have enough money invested that you're earning enough in interest when you're financially independent, you are earning, you have enough money invested that you're able to withdraw everything that you need. So it's really like you don't need to work anymore. You're putting yourself out of a job. And even though not everyone is going to achieve that level of personal finance, everybody can do better with money. Everybody can at least gain a sense of control about where their money is going. And for us, that has improved every part of our life. It's helped our marriage, it's helped our relationships, and it's helped us to be in a position where we're giving and it's not hurting us. And that was something that we had to really relearn. I come from a family that's middle class. I grew up, I had both parents in the home. Both my parents were college educated. Just to give you an example, a story of how I grew up. We weren't poor, we weren't really needing anything, but we were living very dependent on credit and debt. So we did things, but we were paying for it because we were borrowing money. And so that was the norm as I was growing up, was we live on credit, we live on debt. That was very normal. My husband is from the Bronx. He grew up poverty level, so that was very different. And so he has the experience of not having food in the house, having food stamps and relying on subsidized housing and things like that. So together, with our different financial stories, like I said before, we created not the healthiest money habits. But because we were mentored and because we were taught and we were presented with financial education, we're able to change the story for the generation coming after us. So we have a child, and he's not going to know debt. It's not going to be a part of his story the way that it was my story. And he's not going to know poverty the way that it was his father's story. And it's because somebody took the time to invest in us. And our goal with our business, it's called Wealth Education Exchange, is we want people to acquire a wealthy mindset and just to know what are practical things we can do. Not theory, because theory is good, but when we're talking about money and your personal finances, you want to know, what can I do to be in a better financial situation? And so we love talking about that message because it works, and we get so much feedback from people telling us, I'm out of debt. I was able to do this, I was able to pay this off, I was able to stay in school. I mean, so many different stories, and it all evolves around money. And so sometimes we're conditioned, like, we shouldn't talk about money, but money is so important, and it affects every area of our lives. And if we can, just help one person and help them with dealing with money in a healthy way, we want to do that. So our goal is really to talk to as many groups as we can, and especially helping people who are not in that pipeline of financial education. And it's really not taught on a wide level. Like I said, my husband has a PhD, I have a master's degree. We were never taught financial education formally. Everything that we were taught, it was just from our home environments. And even though I have wonderful parents, Elroy, wonderful parents, it was a love-filled home, both homes, but financial education was not taught. And you can't teach if you don't know it. And so we really just want to see, every person in our city having that foundation of I know how money works, and I don't, like, if I get money, I'm gonna know what to do with it, and I'm not just gonna squander it or lose it. And we see that happen a lot, and it's very sad, and it all points back to people do not have financial education. So that's our passion, financial education, and thank you, Will, for the opportunity to share the message tonight.